So this is the homework I've assigned tonight and a review of the lesson we did in class today. Let's start with some of the vocabulary. We have 4 words that mean the same thing: x-intercept, zeros or the zeros of the function, the roots of the quadratic equation, and the solutions of the quadratic equation. These are all different terminology for the same thing. What values of x will make the quadratic equal 0? And for the most part, we're going to find those values by factoring. So here's number 13, the first problem from the homework. You ought to recognize that as the difference of 2 squares, which means our factoring pattern will be x plus 9 times x minus 9. And then it doesn't take too much to see that to make this equation equal 0, if we plug in negative 9 here, this equation will equal 0. If we plug in positive 9 here, this equation will equal 0. So the solutions, or the roots, are x equals 9 and x equals negative 9. 14 is tricky in that it's difficult to see that there's 4 1/2 hiding inside of that 2. So when I factor out 1/2 of an x, that leaves x minus 4 equals 0. If you don't believe that's true, redistribute the 1/2 x and see what you get. Now, what values of x would make this equation equal 0? Well, when x is 0, both terms will cancel, and when x is 4, both terms will cancel. So our roots, the solutions, the zeros, the x-intercepts are x equals 0 and x equals 4. One more. Number 19. Two x squared minus 7x minus 4 equal to 0. Use bottoms up. Create a similar quadratic. X squared minus 7x minus 8 equals 0. Factor. X minus 8 times x plus 1 equals 0. Bottoms up. Divide the 8 and the 1 by 2. This factor will simplify to x minus 4. And this factor, the denominator comes up for 2x plus 1 equals 0. Which values of x will make each factor equal 0? This one should be pretty obvious. Plug in positive 4. 4 minus 4 will give you 0. So one solution is x equals 4. To find the other solution, it's probably easiest to come over here and set the factor equal to 0. Subtract 1 from both sides. You get 2x equals negative 1. Divide both sides by 2 to get x equals negative 1/2. So those are the 2 solutions. And to wrap this video up, here is an illustration of a quadratic with some key points highlighted. This point here is the y-intercept. This point here is our vertex, which can also be either a maximum or a minimum, and in this case it's a minimum because it's the lowest point on the graph. And then these 2 points right here are the roots, the solutions, the x-intercepts, the zeros. 4 different words to describe the same thing. What values of x make the quadratic equal 0? And I suppose we could sketch in the axes of symmetry also. And it is important to note that the vertex and the axes of symmetry is exactly in the middle of each of the two roots.